This woman was accused of killing all her children. This story will bring you tears. That evening began softly, like every other peaceful night. The sun had gone down gently, leaving the sky painted orange and blue. Inside the house, laughter filled the air. Aunties were in the kitchen, cousins were sitting on the floor, and someone was singing a baby lullaby. Olivia stood in the middle of it all, her face glowing with joy as she prepared warm water for her baby's bath. Her son was only 4 days old, tiny and perfect. His skin was soft, his nose small, and when he yawned, the whole room smiled. She had waited for this moment for years. 8 long years filled with pain, tears, and funerals of babies who never lived long enough to call her mama. 5 times she had given birth. 5 times she had buried a child. Doctors said nothing was wrong with her. Prayers were prayed. Fastings were done. Yet every child died before reaching 2 months. But this one was different. He came strong. He came after countless nights of crying on the floor, whispering to God, "Please, just one more time. Let me hold one child that lives." Now that prayer had come true. Everyone celebrated him. Even John, her husband, had taken time off work. For 4 days he hadn't stepped into his office. He just wanted to sit beside the baby's bed and smile at the tiny bundle of life. Olivia leaned over the crib and brushed her baby's cheek with her finger. "Mommy's boy," she whispered, smiling. But something small and strange happened. The baby's chest rose too slowly, like he was tired of breathing. Olivia blinked, unsure at first. She waited. Then she leaned closer. "John," she said quietly. He was sitting by the couch, holding a cup of tea. "What is it? Come and look," she whispered. He came close, looked at the baby's chest, and chuckled. "Honey, relax. Babies breathe funny sometimes. He's fine." But Olivia's heart began to beat faster. It was the same way it started before. The same way. Her hands trembled. She could almost hear the screams from her past, the nurses running, her husband shouting her name, the cold, tiny body in her arms. She shook her head. "No," she whispered to herself. "Not again." She wrapped the baby quickly in his blanket. "John, I'm taking him to the clinic." John frowned. "Now? It's late." "I said I'm taking him." There was something in her voice that made John quiet. He watched as she hurried to the door, clutching the baby like a piece of heaven she refused to lose again. At the small clinic nearby, the nurse smiled gently. "He's fine, ma'am," she said after checking the baby's heartbeat and temperature. "Probably just cold air. You're a new mom. Don't worry so much." Olivia smiled weakly, but deep down she wasn't at peace. 2 days passed. The baby didn't cry much anymore. His breathing sounded soft, faint. Something wasn't right. "John," she said again, "we're going to the big hospital." At the hospital, the doctors ran every test. They checked his blood, his lungs, his tiny heart. Every report came out perfect, but his chest still moved too slowly. One doctor, an older man with tired eyes, looked at Olivia and sighed. "Madam, we have done all we can. There's nothing wrong we can see." Olivia's voice broke. "But my baby is dying. You can't tell me nothing is wrong." The doctor took off his glasses. "Sometimes, madam, some things are not in medicine's hands. Take him to God. Pray." The words hit her like thunder. She sat down slowly, shaking. "Take him to God?" she repeated under her breath. "I've done that before." When John came into the room, she looked up at him with red eyes. "John, he's getting weaker." John touched her shoulder gently. "Then let's go to church. Maybe that's what God wants." Rain had begun to fall outside. Olivia wrapped her baby carefully in a thick blanket. Zuki, her teenage niece, followed behind, holding the umbrella. The sky was black. Lightning flashed. The road was empty. John drove fast, his face tight with fear. Inside the car, the baby's breath came softer. Then Zuki gasped. "Auntie." Olivia turned sharply. "What?" The baby's lips had turned pale. "John, drive faster." John pressed the pedal harder. The car splashed through the puddles of rain. They reached the church gate. John jumped out and began to bang the gate. "Pastor, somebody help." The rain poured heavily, washing his tears away. Then, behind him, the sound that broke Olivia's world came. Zuki stepped out of the car slowly, holding the baby close. Her lips trembled. Her eyes were full of tears. "Auntie," she said softly, her voice shaking. "He's gone." Everything stopped. The rain, the noise, the world. Olivia's body turned cold. "What?" she whispered. No. Zookie's shoulders shook as she cried harder. I'm sorry, Auntie. He's gone. Olivia screamed. The sound echoed through the night. She fell to her knees in the muddy ground, her hands clutching the air. No. God, no, she cried. Please take me instead. John ran to her, holding her tightly as the rain beat down on them. He kept whispering, it's okay, but he was crying too. When they got home, silence filled the house. Neighbors gathered, whispering. Someone covered the baby's tiny body with a white cloth. Olivia sat on the floor staring at it, her face empty. Then Michael, John's younger brother, spoke. This is not normal, he said coldly. 5 children? Now 6. Something is wrong here. Olivia didn't move. Michael's eyes burned with anger. You are the one killing these babies, he said suddenly. Olivia turned to him slowly, her voice breaking. What did you say? You heard me, he said. You are a witch. The whole room gasped. John stood up angrily. Michael, stop it. But Michael didn't stop. Why else did she go to her family house for the pregnancy? So she could hide and do her charms. Olivia's heart pounded. Her breath came short. God, please, she whispered. The room spun around her. She fainted and hit the floor. When she opened her eyes later, her baby's small body was still lying there. Everyone was still staring at her like a stranger. Michael's voice echoed again. We won't bury this baby until Olivia tells us what has been killing our children. Her world went black again. The next morning, the air in the house was heavy. The laughter that once filled it had turned into whispers. Some people cried softly. Others just stared. Olivia sat on the floor, her body shaking. Her eyes were swollen, but no more tears came. Her heart felt like it had turned to stone. John knelt beside her, but even he didn't know what to say. The smell of candle wax filled the room. Someone had lit one beside the baby's tiny white blanket. Outside, Michael's voice was still loud. We must find out what's killing these babies. This can't keep happening. He walked into the room and pointed at Olivia. You will not bury him until you tell us the truth. John shouted. Enough, Michael. That's my wife. But Michael snapped back. Then tell me why every child she gives birth to dies the same way. Even the doctors said nothing is wrong. So what is it? Olivia looked up slowly, her voice almost gone. I don't know. I swear to God, I don't know. Michael sneered. You went to your people's house to have this pregnancy. You didn't want us around because you wanted to hide your witchcraft. The word witchcraft burned through the air like fire. Everyone in the room froze. Olivia gasped. You call me a witch? Me? After all my pain. Michael folded his arms. Then explain it. 6 children, all dead. Explain it. Olivia looked around at the faces that once loved her. Her mother-in-law couldn't even look her in the eye. Her sisters-in-law stood with their arms crossed. John held her hand tightly. Ignore them, he whispered. But the damage was done. The seed of blame had been planted. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She sat beside the crib, staring at the empty spot where her baby used to lie. Every sound in the house frightened her. When she finally closed her eyes, she dreamed of holding her baby, but every time she tried to touch him, he vanished. Days turned into weeks. The house grew colder, quieter. People stopped visiting. Neighbors avoided her. Children whispered as she passed. She could hear them say it. That's the woman who eats her babies. Her heart began to wither. One afternoon, she was outside washing clothes when Michael appeared again. Stop pouring water everywhere, he barked. Olivia looked up, tired. Michael, this is my house. I'm not in yours. He stepped closer, eyes hard. Not for long. You and my brother are getting old. Since you bewitched him, he won't take another wife. When you both die, everything here will be mine. The words hit her like stones. Her hands started shaking. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Her chest tightened, and she fell to the ground. John rushed out shouting, Olivia! Olivia! He carried her to the car and drove her to the hospital. The doctor checked her and sighed. Her blood pressure is too high. She could die if she keeps stressing or crying like this. John looked helpless. He sat beside her bed, holding her hand. Livy, please don't let them kill you with their words. But Olivia didn't reply. She just stared at the ceiling, empty. That evening, she went to the market to buy food. She walked slowly, her mind far away. She barely noticed the people around her. She stopped in front of a shop, unsure of what she even came to buy. Then she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned. A woman stood there, smiling gently. Her face looked calm, her eyes bright like light. Ma'am, The woman said softly, "Go to the chapel every evening at 6 o'clock. Stay there for 1 week. When you go, lie down and cry to God. When you leave, drop any seed you have." Olivia blinked, confused. "Sorry, what did you say?" The woman smiled again. 1 week. 6 o'clock. Cry to God. Don't miss it." Olivia nodded slowly, trying to understand. She looked down to get a pen from her purse to write it down. When she looked up again, the woman was gone. Vanished. She looked left and right. People were walking by, selling fruits, calling out prices, but no one had seen her. Her heart started pounding. "Was that an angel?" she whispered. That night, she couldn't sleep. The woman's words kept playing in her head. By morning, she made up her mind. She would go to the chapel. At exactly 6 o'clock, she entered the small chapel. It was quiet. Only the soft sound of wind and the smell of burning candles. She knelt down and began to cry. "God, I don't even know what to say anymore," she whispered. "But I'm here. Please, help me." She stayed there until she fell asleep on the floor. The next evening, she came again, and again, and again. Each night, she cried until her heart felt lighter. On the 7th night, something strange happened. While she lay on the floor crying, she felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. A calm, deep voice whispered, "Do not give birth naturally. Go for a C-section." Then the voice shouted her name. "Olivia." She jumped up, heart racing. The chapel was empty, but it felt real. Too real. She stood still, trembling. "C-section? But why? I'm healthy. The doctors said I can deliver normally." She didn't understand, but she remembered the peace she felt after crying there each night. 2 weeks later, she found out she was pregnant again. At first, fear filled her. What if this baby dies too? What if everyone is right? But then she remembered the voice. Do not give birth naturally. She decided she would obey. This time, she refused to listen to anyone's advice. Every evening, she still went to the chapel. She prayed, cried, and thanked God for this new chance. Months passed. Her belly grew round and full. People began to whisper again, but she ignored them. When she reached 9 months, John took her to a big hospital in another state. "The best doctors are here," he said. "We'll do everything right this time." The day came. The surgery went smoothly. When Olivia heard her baby cry for the first time, she closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Jesus." They named him Emmanuel, God is with us. He was healthy, strong, and full of life. The next day, the nurse came to circumcise the baby. Everything looked fine. By morning, they were ready to go home. Olivia knelt beside her bed before leaving and prayed, "Lord, this one is yours. Take the wheel." John smiled and carried the bags. They got into the car and began the journey home. Halfway through the road, dark clouds gathered again. It began to rain, slow at first, then heavy, louder than before. John slowed down. The wipers moved fast, but the rain was too strong. Suddenly, the car made a strange sound and stopped right there in the middle of the road. John frowned. "Oh no, not now." He got out into the rain to check the engine. Then Olivia screamed from inside the car, "John, he's bleeding." John's heart stopped. He ran back and saw blood soaking the baby's diaper. Olivia was shaking, crying, "Help him. Please help him." John knelt in the rain, hands on his head. "God, please. This one is yours," he shouted. "Don't take him from me, please." The rain poured harder. His voice broke. He screamed again, "Abba, please. Save him." Then, through the rain, headlights appeared. A car slowed down beside them. A man stepped out wearing a white coat. "What's wrong?" he shouted. "My baby is bleeding." John cried. "I'm a doctor," the man said quickly. "My hospital is just 20 minutes from here. Get in." They all jumped into his car. The man drove fast through the storm. When they reached the hospital, nurses rushed the baby into the emergency room. John and Olivia fell on their knees in the hallway, crying and praying. "God, you said this one is yours," Olivia sobbed. "Please, don't take him away." Minutes passed like hours. Then the doctor came out, smiling. "We've stopped the bleeding," he said gently. "Your baby will be fine." John covered his face with his hands and cried. Olivia fell to the floor, thanking God. They held each other tightly, crying and laughing at the same time. 3 days later, they went home. When they arrived home from the hospital, something felt wrong. The door, which John had locked that morning, stood slightly open. The curtains were moving gently, even though the windows were closed. John frowned and said quietly, "Stay here with the baby." Olivia stayed in the car, her arms wrapped tightly around her newborn. The air felt heavy, too still, too quiet. John stepped inside first. A faint sound of voices drifted from the living room. When Olivia finally entered, she stopped in shock. Her mother was there, standing in the center of the room. "Mom," Olivia whispered. Her mother turned, relief washing over her face. "Oh, thank God you're home." John looked confused. "What's going on here?" Her mother lowered her voice. "Both of you should sit down. I need to tell you something. I woke up with a deep unrest in my spirit yesterday. I couldn't shake it off. So I called my prayer partner, and we began to pray. The moment we started praying, something unusual happened." "What do you mean unusual?" Olivia asked, holding her baby closer. "I felt a nudge in my spirit to gift a struggling nursing mother. So I stood immediately, packed all the cloths I got for the last baby, and did exactly that. But when I got there, I met a woman who came to visit the struggling mother also, and she said something terrifying to me. She said there was a curse that has been claiming every firstborn female's child in our bloodline." Olivia's eyes widened. "What?" Her mother nodded slowly. "She didn't even know your story. But she said the same thing, that no first daughters born into our family will carry their baby more than 2 months, that it's been happening for generations, and nobody has noticed it because the women marry into different families. So it's scattered. Your father's eldest sister died without a baby also. At least that is the only first female I met, but I have asked questions, and Olivia, it's true." Olivia's lips trembled. How could we have missed this?" Her mother's eyes glistened with tears. "Because it was quiet, spread apart. No one connected the dots." John fell to her knees, eyes wide open. "What is this?" John asked quietly. "Every time a first female gave birth naturally, the curse claimed the baby, because the child entered the world through the same bloodline gate where death was waiting." Olivia's breath caught. "Oh my God." Her mother walked over, took her hand, and whispered, "Now I understand why God told you to go through a C-section. It wasn't just medical, it was spiritual. He changed the path. He shut the gate." John looked stunned. "You mean the surgery broke the curse?" The woman nodded. "Yes, because the child didn't come through the cursed passage. The covenant couldn't touch him. Heaven intervened." Tears filled Olivia's eyes. "So, that's why he said not to give birth naturally." John dropped to his knees beside Olivia, holding her hand. They both began to cry. Today, Olivia and John is a happy parents of 3 beautiful children, a proof that when God says he will do it, he will. Maybe not the way you expect, but always in a way that shows he is God.